Hello, Leo, and welcome to your January reading. Now, because I'm so late with the delivery on this, I'm going to extend this time frame. So from the time of this reading, it's going to be, 4 to 5 weeks. We're going to extend the energies from this reading for the next 4 to 5 weeks. So what is it that Leo needs to know over the course of the next month or so? Is it to be aware of? Okay. I don't know if you realize how important a lot of the small things are. And especially when we have Mars, Mercury, and Venus coming through this sixth house. Sixth house is not the most exciting house. It has a lot to do with the mundane aspects of life, errands, household chores, schedules, routines, agendas, making phone calls, sending emails, administrative tasks. There's a lot of health and nutrition and exercise type of stuff that can come through here as well. A lot of coworker type of stuff. Again, it's not the most, it's just really not the sexiest astrological environment in general. But, I do think focusing on those small things is going to be so beneficial. Getting things organized, getting things cleaned out, getting things in a place where things are usable, and kind of tackling the messy stuff that has been maybe piling up, or maybe you've been procrastinating on some things, or really getting in there, getting your hands dirty and tackling that stuff. It's going to be important because of what's going to happen after, right? Because once you have this regular life, these tasks, once you have these goals accomplished, there's more you can do on top of that, or more you can do after that, but you can't really skip the stuff in front of you. Capricorn season doesn't ever let us skip through stuff. It doesn't let us circumvent. We have to go through it. We have to get our hands dirty. We have to do the work. And this is a great time to just say, okay, well, I'm just going to do the work. I'm just going to sit down. I'm going to focus. I'm going to be disciplined about it. And I'm going to do my absolute best to get myself from point A to point B. And we're not going to be too hard on ourselves, because that makes everything a lot harder. But we are going to hold ourselves up to a certain standard. And it's a standard set for us, by us, not by anybody else, right? We set this standard for ourselves, and we live up to it, and we carry through with the promises that we make to ourselves. Because right now, we are the ones that we have to rely upon in order to see these goals come to fruition, all right? So don't underestimate the power of the small things, because there's probably going to be a lot of small things that you'll be so happy you took care of. Now, there could also be some pretty unexpected things that happen. I'm seeing with this one, I know it's only one card, but, I am kind of sensing interruptions, disruptions, people kind of coming in out of nowhere, maybe some strange requests from people. I don't see you engaging with too many of those things. I see you being really focused and saying no to most things. A fiery climax approaches. This is not that surprising given the fact that Pluto is moving into Aquarius again. We have the sun coming into Aquarius as well. We have Uranus stationing direct. So we've got all this like Aquarian, Uranian energy at play, and it can make for some strange occurrences. I do like the climax though, because it does indicate like something is coming to a head, something is coming to conclusion or to closure. So you are getting yourself over the finish line, which I think is really what Capricorn season is all about. Not trying to sound too sexual about that, but you are trying to get yourself over that finish line. And I think you do. I think you get yourself to that place where you actually can kind of wash your hands of the project and say, okay, I'm done. Now, fiery climax may also indicate there's involvement with other people. Maybe there are conversations that are had. Maybe there are certain relationships that are activated. Maybe there is a little bit of quote unquote drama, although I don't know that you're going to get so involved in it so much. We'll see what the rest of the cards have to say. But, we're just kind of in a uprooted time right now with Pluto's transit. So that's not too surprising. So let's see what comes through with the tarot cards. So what is it? Strength. Okay. Feels like Leo is making up for something. Making up for a past opportunity. Like this, I'm not going to call this a do-over, but it is maybe something that it's an opportunity that maybe you let pass by in the past, or you were too involved with other things in the past. Because I'm seeing this connection here with like the disappointment or the sadness or the heartbreak or the loss with that Three of Swords. And it feels familiar, like you are on this precipice of this familiar place where you've been standing before, but you never quite made it over the threshold. And right now, strength is saying you're going to need strength. You're going to need to be disciplined and persevering. You're going to need to be committed to what it is that you're wanting. And like if you really want that career shift, you're going to have to actively put your back into it, elbow grease, make it happen. You're going to have to send out the resumes. You're going to have to meet people. You're going to have to go out, be social. You're going to have to do those things in order to get yourself there. That was just an example, by the way. Not all of you are thinking about career. There's just a lot of 6th and 10th house stuff in your chart right now. So there's a lot of work probably being highlighted for you. And I feel like you are feeling courageous and you're feeling ready to give it your all. Like you are ready to put your back into it. You are ready to kind of do the elbow grease thing. And with the 6 of Coins reversed, I don't know that you're really looking for an immediate payback. Sometimes when we make changes in our lives, we want to see some type of a result right away to kind of give us that sense of security. Like, well, if I'm going to dedicate all this time and energy or money into something, I'm going to want to make sure that I see it coming back. But I don't know that you really care about that so much. I think right now it's about just making the change. It's about pouncing on the opportunity this time and not letting it pass you by. It's about putting yourself out there and putting yourself in a vulnerable place that can be scary. And, doing that because that's what needs to be done. And so as much as I was talking about all the mundane kinds of things, maybe that's where you need to really go all in. Well, maybe that's not scary, but I do think you need to be committed to that. I think there's an opportunity here for Leo to confront a side of themselves that is afraid or ashamed or has guilt. Maybe one of those 3, like fear, shame, guilt. Right? Those are the 3 more negative emotions and things that we could be feeling, or states of mind. And we can confront that by diving into the work. We don't have to be ashamed. We don't have to be guilty. We can just go do it, and we can not beat ourselves up for not doing it. And we can not beat ourselves up for not taking advantage of it last time. We can do it this time. We can make up for it. But this really comes down to decisions. It comes down to decisions, and it comes down to your ability to carry through with those decisions based on the choices and the actions that you make. But I don't think you're looking for things to be all even Steven right now, because maybe you just can't, maybe that's not really the drive. It's not a driver for things to be even. It's not a driver for you to get everything back right away. I think the change just making the change, just diving in, just making something happen, making a dent in the project, right? Just getting that going, that's the driver right now. If you are sitting around and you're like, well, I'm not going to do it because I'm not going to see results immediately, then you'll probably just stay in the exact same place that you are. And some of you that will be acceptable and some of you that won't be acceptable. But when I look at this fiery climax approaches, it tells me like you're going to get fed up with something. You're going to get angry, you're going to get heated, you're going to get emotional about something, and that's going to push this change forward. Because Pluto in Aquarius, I'll tell you what, it's demanding change and progress. Pluto in Capricorn does have somewhat of a conservative nature. It likes to conserve and preserve things, likes to keep things, intact. Aquarius is the opposite. It's where things go to kind of expand and go beyond. We go beyond the walls. So when Pluto crosses over that boundary, change is going to be inevitable. Okay? And change is very generic, so it can come through in a lot of different ways. But Leo is definitely going to feel that as it comes across that 7th house cusp in opposition with you. And I love the Ace of Cups because it's an indication of there's an emotional connection with this. There's a want. Like this is something Leo wants in their heart of hearts. Now the wanting may not be this overwhelming yearning. Like sometimes we have that for romantic partners, like unrequited love. I'm not talking about that kind of wanting. I'm talking more about like this is what you want your life to be. And there's just kind of this core rock of desire, and it's not going anywhere, and you've wanted it probably for a long time, and it is something you feel passionate about. It is something you feel connected to. It just, maybe it wasn't in the past, maybe it wasn't the right time for this to be prioritized, but I think it is time for it to be prioritized now, and that's why it's kind of coming back around. That's why this door is wide open for you, because it's like, well, maybe you really weren't ready in the past, but maybe you're ready now. And the Hanged Man, clearly underneath this 3 of Swords, there's an indication that you see this pain and suffering a little bit differently. You see the consequences of what happens when you don't push yourself, or when you don't grow, or when you don't kind of go beyond that comfort zone. You see the consequences of what happens when you don't do that, because you've already not done it before. And so now you're really embracing this new frontier, which again really is what Pluto in Aquarius is all about, is exploring new frontiers. Pluto in Aquarius is highly explorative. It's a wonderful time to be, to explore and to be curious and to try to discover new things. It seems like fear held you back. Fear, guilt, or shame held you back before. And where did that get you? Well, it got you right here. And not that you're not grateful for where you are and appreciative for where you are, but I know, because Jupiter is in Taurus in your 10th house, I know that there is a yearning for expansion in some area of your life. And that opportunity is opening up right now. And I look at this 10 of Swords, pointing straight at that Hanged Man. And the thing with this is, it's like, you know what happens when you don't grow. You know what happens when you don't expand. You know what happens when you don't take care of this stuff. Because you've lived it. You've been living it. And I think, 9 of Swords, it's not what you want. It's in stark contrast with what you do want. The real question really comes down to is, how much do you actually want it? Because does the wanting actually go so far as to getting you to change your behavior? Because as a Leo, there is a fixed nature. There is a little bit of stubbornness in there. And fixed energies don't like change as much. They're not as adaptable as, say, a mutable sign. So the wanting has to outweigh the pain of not changing. But I think you're kind of confronting that line. And again, fiery climax approaches indicates like this is coming to a head. So there's like this convergence going on. This portal, this threshold, whatever you want to think of it as, opening up. You've looked down that hallway before, you've looked down that corridor before, you know what's down there, but you just never stepped across the threshold ever. And now you're right there again, and you say, well, maybe it's time. Maybe I can have that. Maybe I can live like that. Maybe that could be my lifestyle. And maybe, just maybe, I want it more than I want to stay comfortable right now. Because I don't think you want to stay comfortable. I don't think you do. I think you want to be uncomfortable. And I know that sounds like a really weird thing to say, but there's something so beautiful that happens with discomfort. And I think Leo knows that, and Leo wants to embrace that, because that, when you're uncomfortable, it means, well, you are growing. Okay? I'm not getting so much in terms of relationships with other people, so let's see what comes through with this third line. Just kind of feels like there's the unexpected stuff. Okay, well, there's the Queen of Swords. There we go. And I mean, I wouldn't be worried about the Tower. It's just the change of course. It's what inevitably happens when things go on for too long and they can't sustain, especially if they're held intact by something like fear. Right? If your circumstances are held intact by some kind of a negative state of mind, fear, guilt, or shame, right? If that's what's keeping your life stagnant, there's always these moments where you kind of have to go head to head with it, and you have to deal with it, and you have to find a way to go beyond it. And I think you're being called up right now to do that. And it's not hard. It's really basic things in life. It's the basic things that maybe you've been neglecting or procrastinating on, right? That's really what the Tower is. It's not complicated. It may not seem life-changing, but it really will be. It will be life-changing. Now, the Queen of Swords reversed in line, especially with the Nine of Swords. I mean, I don't think this is a bad person by any means, but I don't know that this is someone that understands what's going on. I think this is someone who is maybe validating your fear. Maybe the word enabling is coming to my mind. It's an enabler. Someone who enables you to stay stagnant or enables you to not grow. But I think this is getting frustrating for Leo. And maybe with the Hanged Man, you're coming into consciousness of how this other person is also afraid, and realizing that they have had an influence. They've had a little bug in your ear, right? They've had words to say. They've had opinions. They've had influence. Whether big or small, they have had influence. And maybe it's not the best influence, and maybe it's really not the right person to be hanging around. I'm kind of seeing that quite a bit this month, that there are just these people, there are these entities, there are these situations that are just they're not in alignment with where you're going. And coming into acknowledgement of that with that Hanged Man, sometimes like this is a really surrendered card. And this means you don't justify things, and you don't try to fit these square pegs into these round holes that, try to make things fit where they don't fit. This person is this person. They are who they are. They do what they do. And while they are fully capable of change, just like everybody else, the question is, are they changing in a way that is beneficial for you? Are they changing in a way that's, going to help you? And are they willing to learn? Are they willing to open their mind? Are they willing to take risks? Are they willing to go on this journey with you? Or are they really shut down? Are they really indecisive? Are they really scared? And if they're too afraid and they're projecting that fear onto you, trying to get you to hold yourself back, then that's a relationship that needs to be reevaluated immediately. And with Pluto coming into the 7th house, coming into Aquarius, it makes sense that some relationships are not going to be able, they're not going to carry over into the new 20-year period. Right? Because what worked for Pluto in Capricorn is probably not everything's going to work for Pluto in Aquarius. There are going to be big changes. And maybe there is a little bit of an argument or something. Maybe there is this moment where you look at them and say, wow, our minds are not alike at all. And I don't mean that in a, like, let's learn from each other. We're different. Let's learn from each other positive way. I mean, there are just some stark differences. And if you're both willing to work through it, work through the differences, that's one thing. But I don't know that a Queen of Swords reversed is willing to do that, because I don't know that a Queen of Swords reversed has the self-awareness to do that. Because often I see a lot of deflection with the Queen of Swords, deflecting. And this can be problematic for you when you're trying to be so productive and you're trying to, build this great life and you're trying to make your way through. And, when you're trying to confront your own fears, it's really hard when someone else might be projecting their own fear onto you. That's kind of like a vicious cycle. It can be very difficult to get out of. So I do think you're going to have some illumination about this Queen of Swords person. If it's not a person, it might be like a job or something. It doesn't have to be an individual. It could be a circumstance in your life that's just kind of not conducive to the future that you see for yourself. And you're going to have to admit that at some point. You're going to have to look around at your circumstance, at your situation, and be like, wow, this is not it. This is not who I see myself being, and sometimes, you do have to quit your job. Sometimes you do have to break up with someone, or you do have to unfriend someone, or, those are really hard things to do. But right now with North Node in Aries and Jupiter in Taurus, it's really, really important for us to look out for ourselves. Now, I'm not suggesting that you are ridiculously selfish, okay? When Jupiter comes into Gemini in May, we'll be a little bit more socially conscious. It's just that Taurus demands that we take care of ourselves. It's a self-sustaining zodiac sign, and so does Aries. Okay, so it's just important for us to make moves right now to make sure we're looking out for us. And usually when we look out for us and we take opportunities that are for our benefit, people that we love also benefit from the benefits. So, it's kind of put your own oxygen mask on first before you help the person next to you. You have to take care of yourself. And I don't know that this person or this circumstance is really understands that very well. Okay. All right, this reading kind of a weird turn, but that's okay. It's I talked about unexpected things, so let's start with the clarifiers. So for those of you who are new, the cards I'm about to pull out are the cards we'll cover in the comprehensive reading, and the link for that will be found in the description box in the comment thread down below. We usually talk for another 25 to 30 minutes or so about these cards, so if you want to join, you are more than welcome. So we're going to start with the Strength card, King of Cups, Page of Wands, and a Queen of Swords reversed again. Eight of Wands, the Moon, Hermit, Ten of Cups, Eight of Cups, Ten of Coins, Queen of Coins. Yeah, I don't see you being especially results oriented right now. King of Coins, Two of Wands, Ace of Wands. Three of Coins. King of Wands reversed. Knight of Wands. Page of Cups. Page of Coins. Queen of Wands. Nine of Wands reversed. Nine of Coins, Seven of Cups, and last but not least for this Queen of Swords, 10 of Wands, Ace of Cups reversed, King of Swords reversed. Okay. All right, well, this is where we're going to pick up in the comprehensive. So if you want to join, you're absolutely more than welcome. Thank you all so much. You guys know I love and adore you. Have an amazing month, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.